On Rewind, Silo. This is exploring humanity through sci-fi. This continues my mission to get a better understanding of ourselves through sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and comics as our mode of exploration. Hugh Howey wrote a trilogy of stories about a bleak future where people lived in giant underground silos with 244 levels. After a series of false starts, Silo became a TV series on Apple TV+. In the cast, Rebecca Ferguson is Juliet Nichols, an engineer who encounters past and present mysteries. Did she know about the Howey stories?
When I was offered the role, no, I wasn't familiar with them. And then obviously I went deep diving and read all of them, compared. I was in direct conversation with Hugh, because obviously they had to change the narrative a bit from book to the TV show. And I kept on talking about how to maintain the core of her that he created. So, yeah, I do all the research.
One of the things I look for in an actor's performance is not just what they say, but the way they stand and the way they act. And with Juliet, I noticed at first, she kind of, at times, slightly hunched and didn't make eye contact at first with people because, for whatever reason, was that something that you wanted to bring or to the character, or was that in the script?
It's so silly. It's like if you would write something and I would go, by the way, I hit that little note in your writing, and you go, yes, thank you. I did. I worked actually with, and it sounds maybe a bit silly, I don't think so. I worked with a body movement coach because I often find myself quite erect, poised, and I thought I really don't want to do that with her because she needs something else. And especially being in a cramped environment with the machinery, you would have these sort of body traumas. So the hunchback and the fact that she doesn't look at people, I think, is very much how I interpret someone who has a lot of grief and sadness and anger and has these sort of horse thingies up and just moves. She doesn't want to touch people. She doesn't want to be around people. She just wants a machine. So thank you. Yes, I worked really hard on that.
And I love as she progressed how it changed a little bit too. So that was cool.
I mean, American is always quite difficult because when you have to do an accent, I have to step out. I have to do the work as good as I can, and I have a voice coach on set. But you're not free to ad lib and play. You're stuck within the frames of rhythm and culture, and American culture is not the same as Swedish culture in the way Americans speak. So that is always quite a bit of a holdback. And then I think for me in general, because I wanted her to be quite introvert until she kind of grows, me as Rebecca, I lean forward and I'm curious and I take a lot of place. I had to constantly remind myself that Juliet doesn't. Like there would be scenes and I would be confronting someone and then I have to go, oh yeah, no, she wouldn't. Let's do that again. I think what's interesting for Juliet is the fact that she's hiding away from the past, and what the future is doing is actually unraveling a box that she has for years tried to not unpack. And I think she's coming to terms with that grief and loss is something that makes you whole. You know, she's put in a position of leadership to move something forward, but how can you move things forward if you're not whole, right?
More on Silo on Rewind in a moment. Rebecca Ferguson on joining the series.
It was all quite new to me. So when I was offered the role with Graham in the room and Morten Tyldum, the first director, we were talking and I was umming and ahhing, and it wasn't sort of not that I loved it and I loved Graham, but it's a big role to put yourself into, right? And I felt a bit like the thing we talk about. I've come from sci-fi, I do sci-fi, is this sort of, I don't want to get into the genre of it, but I love the character and he kind of went, well, how about an executive producer? And I went, I'm just going to Google what that means. 2 seconds. I literally, because I didn't know. And when I realized it was the fact that I was allowed to be a part of the creative aspect of something. It doesn't mean that I'm writing. It's written. But he listened to my ideas. I felt heard. I I was quiet. I would listen to him. I learned from a phenomenal showrunner how to set up a show. But to be honest, on set, I took producer cap off. I was one with the team. But I think as a producer, if I act a certain way, it will be seen and it will be respected in a certain way, right? And as a lead. So if I want equality and I want certain mannerisms that I will act upon, I don't like hierarchy, then that will be the setting. And I think Graham had that as well. So we had the most incredible energy on set because everyone was a part of it. And I don't know if that's because of an executive role or people feeling like it was more important. I listen to Graham and I watch other people and I just do what I feel is important for a good set.
Well, I think one of the main themes of this is truth and what is truth. And the silo has kind of its own and won't say anything more. Talk about that theme. It really rings, hate to say it, but true to the series.
Such a lovely juxtaposition-filled word of horror. It's funny, isn't it? Because the word is what ejects Juliet into moving forward and into a new position and idealism. It's so interesting to speak about these, so generally and broad. But it's also a word that is so misused, and a word that a lot of people don't question. And it's interesting in this environment that is so compact. I remember Hugh Howey once said, he talks about the philosophy of the two minds, Rousseau versus Hopper. Rousseau says that society is we're born good and society destroys us. And Hopper said we're born evil and society tames us. So he said he liked the idea in the books anyway to have those different idealisms, and IT basically being the idea that society tames you, control, truth, the pact. And then you have something like the mechanical, who is all about tactile, moving forward, fighting, having feelings and emotions. But one can't really work without the other. What is the truth? But what you first need to is ask the question, who is controlling us? What is controlling us? You know? So the truth is asked on so many different levels. And also, like, I come back to philosophically, but Juliet and all the characters, what is the truth for you? Chinaza Uche's character, Billings, hides behind the truth of something that he's hiding with something that we can't talk about. We all have our own truths and how much we need to disclose of it.
There's much more on Silo on Rewind, so stay tuned.
He says it very well in the confrontation with her, in a moment where she's showing him her truth. And he says that, I think he says it to her, or he says it to someone else, when he says that she reminds him of his wife. And he has a very special relationship to his wife for various reasons. But he's in search of something. And his wife is a person who goes against, Rashida Jones plays her phenomenal, goes against the status quo, not actively, but once again is put in a situation where things are starting to unravel. And she goes against and she questions. And we live in a society underground where people are not doing this. People are not going against and starting the ripple effects. We've had the rebellions. There's been emotion. People were killed. We want to control the status quo. And here he is now with two women who both are standing on the barricades saying, enough. I think that's what draws him to it.
The sets of Silo.
I mean, absolutely incredible. I've been on the most phenomenal sets. I've been lucky and fortunate enough. And yeah, like you said, I haven't done TV in a long time, but the film sets that I do are usually on location. And they're real, and it's the desert, or it's this, or it's Tom in a helicopter, you know, whatever it is. I walked onto this set, and it was mind-blowing how high the stairs were. It was mind-blowing, the detail and intricacy of each room, of each character, that had small details of makes them who they are within an environment that never changes. The machinery, the fact that when we have to work with this huge machine, yes, of course, there's blue screen around us, but the size of it, the fact that we get to climb it, the fact that we need rope to get up it, is all real. It's all there. We have 3 different locations where we're filming because it's too big. And it makes it so uniquely incredible as an actor to walk onto set and to use the momentum of things around you, to look at it, to feel it. It becomes real. I mean, I'm so happy I'm not working with blue screen. I mean, we have bits, but I don't feel like that is the essence of the show. And Apple have always been, for us, supporting the fact that it needs to be real.
Common plays Robert Sims, and security is his gig. He's the head of security for Judicial, who maintains order within the silo.
Sims is super sharp to be in that situation, he's still staying like, that's part of his aura, that's part of his thing. It's like, he still stays as clean as possible. That's, some people need that as part of their, like, oomph, and that's who Sims is. Like me, Rashid, Common, I could be a little more rugged at times, but Sims is sharp.
Sims had a tough first season in many ways.
Sims is really going through some moments where he's being broken down in a way, like broken down in the way that he's being challenged by the things that he already believes, but also he is really trying to get to a position where he could do more in the silo as Bernard's shadow, and he's getting resistance for that, and he really believes he can he has the mindset and the experience and the intuition to help save the silo and keep order in the silo, but Bernard is not agreeing in that way, and Camille Sims' wife, Camille Sims, is his that's his, like, he bounces a lot of things off her. He listens to her. She's a powerful and very intelligent person and woman. So, and everywhere he's going, he's getting that resistance, but he has that partner. So you find these different aspects and dimensions of Sims now, seeing him with his wife and his son, and it's beautiful. I love, because everybody knew Sims as, they felt like, yo, this is the enforcer. But it's more to him than that. He's a human being, and I felt really great when friends I knew who first would be like, man, we hate Sims, man. It's Sims, man. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? People take it as you doing that. Why are you doing that? But then they was like, man, I'm starting to feel for Sims as the season went along. So now you get to know him even more.
Graham Yost created the series and talks Juliet's story in seasons 1 and 2.
So the Juliet story, for all the big beats of it, are pretty much there in Hugh's book. And it's the second half of the first book. So the first season was the first half, right up to Juliet going out over the hill and disappearing. And the way we did the uprising was a little bit different than Hugh did it, partly because we had set up some characters in a different way, and we need to dive into their lives. But it's still an uprising, and the best review, I don't know how people are going to receive this, but the best review we've got is that Hugh and his wife loved it. So they watched it a couple times. So it's like, that's the most important thing.
He describes how all the work came together to make the series.
It's a really cooperative and community-like set. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but they all enjoy working together. And so, but they're also embracing. So when Zahn joined, it was basically just him and Rebecca for a big stretch of time. And Rebecca and I got on a Zoom with Steve when we were wanting to hire him and trying to talk him into it. We already had him. We didn't know that, but we already had him. He was dying to do it. They just hit it off. So they had so much fun working together. That it's a cool deal. The other part of it was expanding the actual sort of physical world. So we see this other silo, this dead silo, and Nicole Northridge, our production designer, did an amazing job with figuring out how that would look. So it was a weird year, right? It's the strikes. I saw episodes and I never saw any of the water tanks. I wasn't there for that. But when you have the directors that we have, so Michael Dinner and Eric Avellino and Amber Templemore, you're in good hands. It's going to be good.
Silo starts Season 3 July 3rd on Apple TV+. On Sci-Fi Talk Plus, some exclusive episodes have a video version as well. All episodes will feature a podcast and also bonus video, great for listening and watching on your phone, tablet, or desktop. And besides that, it'll feature the best episodes selected by listener downloads. You can save 17% on a yearly plan to get those commercial-free episodes published Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with special episodes as well. Click on the link in the show notes today. For Rewind, this is Tony Tellado.